Hey, what's up guys? It's Pete here with mixbetternow.com, and today I have a video for you where I want to talk about how to take a boring and a lifeless drum loop and make it sound exciting and punchy and to be able to really cut through your mix. But before I do that, please do me a favor. Please hit subscribe. Please hit like, and please sign up for the email list where we have all kinds of free things for you, like free multi-track sessions, free mix templates, free plugins, free impulse responses, all kinds of free stuff. So please check it out. All right, I have a session open here where I am mixing a track for a client. I was given a drum loop basically where it was only a kick and a snare. There was no way to go back and redo it. It was done on like an MPC Renaissance or a Machine. So unfortunately, I basically had to make it work. It wasn't redoable, and it just wasn't really cutting it in the mix. It wasn't exciting enough for me, and it wasn't punchy enough, and it wasn't giving the weight that a hip hop track should have. So I'm going to play a little bit for you here. You could hear what I got going on, and then I will show you how I achieved that.
Young Flacco, half black and Puerto Rican, student to the language. All fives is how we speaking. No preaching, action show, that's how we teach it. We are in blood, but touching hearts is how we reach it. But what does gringo mean, huh? And why we beefing? Blame Columbus for breaking bonds to little pieces. We all need to have respect for one another, for the land, for the plan to make brothers. Don't take cover to any color of any other. Less fights, no hate, and more lovers. Sit Medea, spark a lighter, we getting higher. Burning trees and put it out like firefighters. Don't keep the pain in. Put your umbrella down, let the rain in. Surf it up and hang 10. True soldier to the war we in. Use and love, time is money, this for Bordy again.
All right. So yeah, basically, the stuff that I'm doing here is really kind of elevating the level of the kick and the snare, and it's allowing it to kind of get through the bass and to get through the guitars and the vocals and the keys and all those things to get to a point in the mix where I want it to sit and really be the bedrock for this track, because in hip hop, right, it's drums and bass, drums and bass, drums and bass. So, well, you could argue that for any genre, for that matter. But anyway, so basically what I did was I'm going to bypass this and show you how it sounds sterile. And this is literally just a dry track. Right, pretty boring, not a whole lot going on. You know, it's not really hitting you in the face. You're not feeling it. There's just not much to do. I even tried to go into the track. I tried to pull it apart to see if it was possible to actually physically chop the kick from the snare and put them on two different tracks, you know, so I could even just change the volume on them, but I couldn't, because if you hear this little snippet, you'll hear kick, kick, snare. And you know, if you look at the waveform, it's gonna be a little bit of a mess. So we have to use it. That being said, what I did was, the first thing I sent it to is some tape. I grabbed the Ampex ATR 102 tape machine from UAD. It doesn't matter the plugin. The idea is just that I'm sending it to a tape emulation, a tape saturation plugin, where I can get some of that tape saturation and that natural tape compression. Next thing I did was I brought in a compressor using the Brainworks Vertigo VSC2. Again, doesn't matter the compressor. The reason I chose this compressor is because it has a sidechain filter or a high pass filter. I have it set to 90 Hertz. What that means is the compressor is not compressing any frequencies below 90 Hertz. The reason I want to use it on this track is because on a kick drum, compressors tend to get very excited by low end frequencies. So I wanted to let them pass through so it wasn't squishing and making the track sound more lifeless than it already is. 10 millisecond attack. 0.1 second release, so the fastest release possible, gentle 2-to-1 ratio, and I'm really just knocking off like, I don't know, 1 or 2 dB. Let me go here. Just kind of shaving off the peaks. And then I followed it up with the Sonics Oxford Inflator, which is a harmonic exciter plugin. This thing's fantastic. Have the effect set to 50 and the curves around 20. So that's all in. These are all out. Back in. All right, so those we're starting to get it going there. Now, the most important part of this process, in my opinion, what is giving me the most bang for my buck, is using parallel compression. So what I've done is I've set up an auxiliary send here labeled Drum Crush. I have a send going at unity gain, which is 0, and I'm sending the drum loop to this Drum Crush bus. So we're doing some heavy compressing, some EQing, and a little bit more harmonic exciting. The first thing I have up is a Sli-Fi. If I say that too fast, I'm going to say sci-fi. I always want to say sci-fi. A Sli-Fi deflector from Gregory Scott at Kush Audio. This thing's pretty awesome. It's a distressor emulation, so check it out. So we got a 20-to-1 ratio, 60 hertz on the high pass filter, medium attack, fast release, typical for parallel compression settings on drums. If you guys haven't seen it, please go to the channel or to the blog and click on my parallel drums video where I kind of walk you through that whole process. That'll make it a little bit more clear if you don't know what I'm talking about. But after the compressor, I am doing some EQing. I'm using the API 550A from UAD. Now, the reason that I'm using the API versus another EQ is I'm boosting. And when I boost in my mixes, whether it's on drums, on bass, on guitars, on vocals, when I boost, I like to use what I call vibey EQs. EQs that have EQs that have vibe, that have personality, that have some kind of inherent texture or sound about them. Usually, it's an EQ that might have a transformer in it, or a tube in it, or a transistor of some type. And the API is killer. I'm boosting 4 dB of 100 hertz, which is really kind of zoning in on the kick drum in the loop. I'm boosting 4 dB of 1.5K, which is kind of taking care of the girth of the snare drum. And then I'm boosting 2 dB of 10K, which is kind of working on the top end of the snare, or the sizzle, if you will. I'll play it, and then I'll bypass it in and out. So that just gives us a little bit of lift, which is always much needed in situations like this. And then lastly, I'm using the Kush Audio. Gregory just came out with these new transformer models, or emulations, if you will. This one is modeling the transformer inside of an API. So really what it's doing is it's just adding some more harmonic saturation, some harmonic excitement, and it's just real gentle. So where we're really going to hear the magic happen in this is when I bring the parallel bus out and in, and then I'm going to bypass everything here. So let me play it. I'll bring everything in, bring it out, and you can hear what we're doing. That's everything out. Gonna bring everything in. So that's the way that I chose to treat this drum loop in this particular song, to kind of give it some life and to make it a bit more exciting and to give it some more punch and some weight so we could have it sit better in the mix and eventually be not just heard but felt. So that's it. My name is Pete from mixbetternow.com, and I appreciate your time as always, and I hope you have a great day. I'll catch you guys next time. Thanks a lot.